There was a time when I thought Eminem was the best rapper, and I would have argued anyone down on why he was. As I grew up, I realized that his music just wasn't relatable to me as a black person and as an adult trying to figure myself out. However, he did play a huge role in music to me when I was in middle school. I actually still have some of his songs and listen to them regularly. I say all that to say that this video does not make me happy. I'm actually very disappointed, and it's even more disappointing that I'm not surprised. What's even crazier is that I was just having a conversation with an old coworker of mine on why he thought Eminem was the best rapper. And he said it was because Eminem didn't use the N-word, which he thinks is very admirable because they're both white. In the back of my mind, I was like, Eminem has definitely used the N-word before. I don't know why he just gives me that vibe. But my exact words to him were, it's because he can. Little did we know, he most definitely did, and there's evidence of it. Disclaimer, this is not an Eminem hate video, so if that's what you're looking for, this isn't the channel for you, as I take real life issues and use it as ways to spark dialogue and further the growth of our community. Let's give a little background before getting into the music. So, back in the day, Eminem had beef with lots of people because, to be honest, he was problematic to the general population. Some of the people did dislike him because he was a white rapper, and some disliked him because he was a rapper in general. However, there was a small, sensible part of the population that disliked him because of the content of his music. It was disrespectfully extreme for no reason. In usual rap, there's disrespect to women, which rap catches a lot of flack for. But these are the same people that in the same breath, they wouldn't hire someone because she's a woman, would think that women can't do certain jobs, the pay gap between men and women, and generally think that women were put here to serve men. Rap is just more vocal about it, whereas everyone else would like to pretend they don't disrespect women in public and just do it behind closed doors. Not Eminem though. He was like, I'm gonna take it a little bit further so you can understand my disdain. He made songs like Kill You, Kim, the constant disrespect to his mother. It is worthy to note that he did make a song apologizing to his mother once he realized that she was extremely mentally ill and that her behavior wasn't her fault. I really like that song. I think it's called Headlights if you want to listen to it. Another reason is what he said about the Columbine kids in the song I'm Back, which was beyond disrespectful and tasteless. I'm not gonna lie, little me was like, stand a mile in line, until I realized what he was saying, and I was like, uh-oh. Shout out to Tupac, because I think he's the one that said something about the incident, and that's how I learned what Columbine was. Now that we've established some of the reasons why people had a problem, let's get into this specific topic. Eminem had a beef with Benzino back in the early 2000s. Their beef started because Benzino, a rapper and co-owner of the magazine The Source, started publicly criticizing Eminem. He said that Eminem was culturally appropriating hip-hop and was a guest in hip-hop. Now, I don't personally consider Eminem one of the greatest rappers anymore since I expanded my knowledge of hip-hop, but Eminem can rap without a doubt. However, I do understand where Benzino is coming from, considering when black people enter white spaces or spaces perceived as white, we get heavily criticized. For example, country and rock. Black people created those genres, but somehow we're not really welcome. So again, I understand that, but I will never understand coming from someone unprovoked. And that goes for anybody. So Eminem wasn't really having that, and they started trading disses back and forth. Now, The Source magazine was a huge deal in rap during that time. They rated albums, and that was a huge indicator to how good the album was. Starting out, Eminem was given their title of Unsigned Hype, basically co-signing him before his career took off. A few years later, they rated his critically acclaimed Slim Shady LP a 1 star. I have to agree with this rating. It's one of, if not my least favorite Eminem album. I'm not a fan of just saying or doing stuff for shock value. I dislike that in anything though, especially movies and TV shows. So, moving on to the Marshall Mathers LP. The Source rated it a 4 out of 5, which is a great rating. However, Eminem took offense to that rating, so they raised the score to 4.5. He claimed that the album should be rated even higher than that because it sold 1.7 million copies in a week. This whole incident is so entitled on Eminem's part because you don't rate something based on sales, you rate it based on the quality of the content. The fact that they raised the rating strictly to appease Eminem and he still wasn't satisfied says a lot about his ego back then. A 4 is a fantastic rating. It's important to note that all of this happened before the beef started, and I'm sure all of this didn't leave a good impression on the people who worked for The Source. A few years later, the Eminem Show came out. It got the same rating, a 4 out of 5. A 4 out of 5 on this album is wild because it's a great album. It's worth at least a 4.5. Benzino later came out and said that he was the one who blocked it from getting a perfect rating, which I think is bogus. If the album is good, rate it fairly. Eminem and Benzino went on to trade blows via music. Eventually, Benzino took the beef to the source. Benzino and his co-owner Dave Mays held a press conference on November 18, 2003. There, they revealed the finding of the mixtape and played recordings. All the girls I like to bone have big butts. No, they don't, because I don't like that. Insert N-word here, spit with an H. I'm just here to make a bigger hit. The second track was from 1988, and Eminem was rapping about an ex-girlfriend that was black. Blacks and whites, they sometimes mix. But black girls only want your money because they dumb chicks. Later on, he raps, never date a black girl because they only want your money, and that spit ain't funny. The first song was only a few lines long, but the second track was an entire song dedicated to his disdain for black women. Benzino went on to say something I agree with wholeheartedly. He said, "Don't make this right now a double standard. We gotta treat this the way you treat Mike Tyson, like you treat Kobe Bryant, like you treat R. Kelly, like you treat O.J. Simpson." While I don't agree with his reasoning for digging up dirt because they clearly were looking for something like this on purpose, I do agree that he should be held accountable. One of my main issues with this was Eminem's response. He didn't take accountability or really apologize at all. He just made excuses and said the same old tired lines we hear all the time. How he was young and immature. He doesn't really feel that way. He was just angry at the time. I was young and immature once. I get angry sometimes. Never said anything racist. Never even thought anything racist. But what he actually said was, the first track wasn't him and that he never heard of it, even though there was an entire press conference that heard him rapping. And AI wasn't invented back then, so, well, it was invented, but AI didn't have the capabilities to do what it does now, so who else was it? Eminem responded to the second song stating he isn't racist and explained that the recording was made when he was just 15, foolish, and angry. He then goes on and uses a tactic we see very often of shifting the blame by stating, Ray Benzino, Dave Mays, and The Source have had a vendetta against me, Shady Records, and our artists for a very long time. The tape they played today was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration when I was a teenager. I had just broken up with my girlfriend who was an African American, and I reacted like the angry, stupid kid I was. I hope people will take it for the foolishness that it was, not for what somebody is trying to make it into today. Which I find strange because, people always trying to say you try to make something into something that it's not, but you can't really do that if the person said what they said, you know? The whole thing basically ended with Eminem suing The Source to stop the release of the tapes. In general, it seems that when people were having problems with what he was saying, he would get defensive and basically claim that people were picking on him and that it was just entertainment. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, particularly the Chris Brown one, you would know that I'm all about accountability. He could have easily just acknowledged that his words were detrimental and problematic, apologized, and then he could have just moved on and learned from it. But what I want to talk about is how people from other ethnicities take black culture and then use it as a tool against black people is literally insane. The gall of Eminem to take a black medium, steal a black flow, and then diss black people, I don't understand. As a community, we do tend to rally around people who have shown disrespect to our community as a whole, and that is a discussion that genuinely needs to be had, especially when you consider that a good amount of them would never do the same for us. One of the actors that got a career revitalization from Tyler Perry was just on TV comparing black people to dogs because a black woman, Beyonce, dared to make a country album, another medium that black people created. This is why a lot of people don't respect us, because it seems like we don't respect ourselves. A lot of us wouldn't even defend another black person the way we defend others. To use Eminem as an example, because that's who we're talking about, just because you grew up around black people and have black friends doesn't mean anything. What means something is what you do when no one is watching. Because the moment you get mad, you throw out racial slurs and degrade and demean black women. And having so many people back him is one of the reasons why he was able to give the excuse that he did and continue on using our medium even though he disrespected not only us, but hip-hop and what it means to us, which he says means a lot to him as well. My thoughts on this aren't about Eminem alone. It's really about us and the things we let slide because we deem someone as cool or invited to the cookout. And I'm not saying throw this in his face and don't let him learn and grow from this. I'm saying that when we consistently give a pass, there is no accountability. The same things are going to keep happening over and over like they've been doing. This is a reason why people always expect us to take things and let it roll off our back, because we always act like things are not that big of a deal. So why should they? Please let me know your thoughts on my analysis. I'm not just talking to black people when I say let me know your thoughts. I do want to spark a dialogue here, and I want to know where everyone's head at. As always, please like and subscribe as well. See you next video.